Hello, everybody. I'm Joe Gavanus, Chairman of the East Norriton Township Board of Supervisors. Today, my guest is Joan Lenhardt. Joan is the Chairwoman of the East Norriton Historical Commission. Welcome, Joan. And first question I have for you is, tell us what the Historical Commission is.
The Historical Commission is a committee of the township. It was formed in 2000, and it's under Ordinance 420 in our township. And the purpose is to preserve the historic, to identify and preserve the historic sites, buildings, papers, documents, and relics of historical significance to our East Norriton Township. And it's also under the Constitution of Pennsylvania to encourage and preserve our historic resources.
Okay, and as everyone on the Historical Commission knows, and maybe some of our audience doesn't know, our township was founded in 1909.
Right.
I don't think either of us were around at that time, but there probably are some historical artifacts and things that you have in your collection.
We have many things before 1909. Our township was an early part of Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
It was under William Penn's domain at one time.
Okay.
His son sold the land that is now East Norriton Township.
Interesting. So we have a historical perspective here. Even on our township logo, we have, I believe we have George Washington on there.
Yes, we do.
And he did visit East Norriton at one time?
Yes, he did. We have that documented. He stayed at Robert Shannon's house over on what is now Orchard Lane.
Mm-hmm.
And he spent the night of June 19th, 1778, after leaving Valley Forge.
Wow.
This was his first stop. And an interesting part is troops were to be gathered by 4 o'clock in the morning because they were taking off for Doylestown. After Doylestown, up to the Delaware River.
Wow, how about that? Interesting things that not too many people would know. Let's get back to the zoning hearing board.
We're past that, huh?
We passed on that, yes. Let's get back to the Historical Commission, the structure of the commission. How many people do you have on the commission?
We now have 9 members of our commission, and it's awful nice to have 3 of our members who have been lifelong East Norriton residents. And they know more of this history. One knows when there was no traffic lights in East Norriton Township.
People would love to go back to those days.
Yes.
So how often do you meet?
We meet every other month, starting in January on the 4th Monday of the month.
Okay, and the meetings are open to the public?
Oh, yes. We encourage people to come, to ask questions, to tell stuff, just to be there. We do not get many visitors, but we enjoy having them when they do come.
Okay, that's great. What's documented as far as the township history? Where can people go to see a history of the township, or how can they find more information?
We're fortunate that we have a resident and a writer, a historian in our township. The Reverend Judith Meyer wrote a book, An Early History of East Norriton Township.
Wow.
It lists mills, churches, inns, taverns, schools, villages. It's an amazing read and a very nice, easy, informative read.
Now, when I know there's a limited edition of these that are left,
Right.
Where can we get this if we need to? Where would it be made available if people wanted to come in and browse through it or maybe borrow it?
Don't we have a reading box, book box out front?
We do have out in front of the township building a lending library.
Okay.
Which purpose is to, come take a book, read it, and bring it back, or maybe put one of your own in there, and it's not to be kept permanently by anybody, but to be shared.
Correct.
And we could make that a part of the lending library.
I think that would be a perfect place for this book.
That's great. That's great.
And I think our township residents and others, but our township residents could enjoy reading that and appreciate the history of some of our many buildings and areas.
Okay, well, thank you for your time today, and you're very astute in terms of the questions and the answers that I've asked for you. So we appreciate your time, and keep keeping those historical documents alive and well in East Norriton.
Thank you, Joe. It's a pleasure to work for our township.
Well, thank you. We're glad to have you. And thank you all for watching ENTV.